Gisela was supposed to be around, but he will be representing ENERGIA. Yeah, I would like to run you through a short presentation to start with. Very brief to have the background. Very brief. Oh. Okay. There it is. I'd like to show you a bit of technologies available in Tanzania, which are the clean cook stoves, and from various players. And lucky enough, I've got the team, and they'll go in detail on what they are doing, and in relation to the clean cook stoves and the rural electrification synergy with the cooking industry. Just giving a review of the cooking energy in Tanzania. Most of it, as you can see, most is on biomass, the charcoal and the firewoods. Then most of people said that we are making improved cook stove, we are making a clean stove, but ISO decided to put a criteria where you can measure which clean stove falls under what category according to the chart. Then there you can see, go back. Anyway. Yeah, there are some technologies which are coming up with this, define more of what we are doing today is synergy between the clean cook stoves and the renewable energy. There we have got the sun, the solar, and then there is a fan to accelerate combustion in the stove. And I think that is the one which befits most of what we are. It doesn't go. Yep. What we think can take us to SDG-7 after some challenges which my colleague will present. There are some associations trying to engage on solving the challenge of the gap. And I think briefly, that's what I wanted to present. So now I'd like to invite my panelists to present what they have. And I'll start with Irene. She'll be giving us on what is the status quo of clean, sustainable cooking in Tanzania perspective. You're welcome.
Thank you. I think my presentation was the last. Oh. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Irene Kamande. I am the East African BAN Commercial Director, and I'm here to represent Peter Scott, who has to be in the other session. So I'm going to talk to you about BAN and our plans for Tanzania. So BAN is the first and the biggest currently manufacturer of clean cooking stoves in the world. And our plant in Kenya is the first, but we plan to have other plants in various parts of the world, starting with currently going for Ghana, Nigeria, and a couple of other countries. But next year specifically, we want to be here in Tanzania. We have capacity of 100,000 stoves in our factory in Nairobi, but we are working towards getting that quadruple by the end of this year, and I must say we are very much onto the projection for that. Right now, we have already made and sold 1.4 million stoves across Africa and across other geographies other than in Africa. And our main products are Jiko, which is biomass for charcoal, and then we have kuni, and we have also some electrical products that we have plans to roll out, and specifically for Tanzania. If you have the pleasure of visiting our stand on the other side, you'll be able to see some of these products on display. Now, I just mentioned about the facilities and expansion plans. I hope the map can show you the dark orange being where we already are, starting from Kenya, DRC, Mozambique, Zambia, Somaliland, actually whole of Somaliland, southern Somali, Puntland, Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana. So you can see we've already established ourselves with marketing and sales operations, distribution, and we also have formidable partners in these parts of Africa where we are growing every single month. Very short presentation, and therefore the challenges are, first of all, we have recently raised quite a bit of money, and we are looking for additional money so that we can actually establish ourselves in Tanzania. Our main plan for Tanzania is actually an electrical cooking factory. But meanwhile, we have started establishing ourselves by setting up teams here, and we have big plans to sell, first of all, the charcoal stove, or what we call here mkaa, and then subsequently also distribute the wood stove. One of the biggest challenges, I must say, is, I think it was mentioned in various sessions before, is having to do with taxation. So our biggest job right now is to engage the DRE teams, which have certain regulatories that are not very clear, or we would like clarifications, because if we have to bring our stoves and we need to distribute them as we would like, then it will be a very big challenge if we have to, say, get double taxation or get taxation that would otherwise not necessarily help us grow our availability of a stove that is using a third of what other local stoves use in terms of, for instance, charcoal, that emits less, about 71% less carbon, therefore ensuring health for the mothers or the children they are with, and ultimately ensuring that our environment is preserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we reserve our questions, maybe at the end of the session, then we'll come to question and answers. May I welcome Mr. Muro of UNCDF. He will give us some lesson learned and on clean cooking institution in Tanzania and across Africa, because it's a bigger organization, international. Yeah, you are welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much, Mr. Sylvester. I don't have a presentation. I'll just talk from what I have. First and foremost, I would like to thank European Union by giving an opportunity to UNCDF as a development partner to implement the 17 million euro clean cooking solution to accelerate market rollout of different products, energy products and fuel. It's a program which is being implemented in 5 regions in the corridor of Dar es Salaam, Pwani, Dodoma, Morogoro, and Mwanza. We are in the process of, in a few weeks' time, we are going to float call for proposal, but recently we are done with scoping study and market assessment study, and we'll be concentrating on supporting clean cooking in improved cook stove, which Irene has explained, electric pressure cooker, rice cooker on the part of electricity. We'll be supporting liquefy, petroleum gas, LPG, briquettes, especially for institutions. Natural gas, still not developed because it's difficult to containerize and distribute at retail level. Having discussed with the funder, we'll be using different financing mechanism and instrument which will involve subsidy, of which will deploy the performance-based system, and then we'll have a second package of support to working capital, and the third instrument will be investment capital. I'm saying this specifically because having analyzed the situation on the ground and in the market space, EU and UNCDF realized that much has been done on the supply side, but we need to stimulate the lower end of the value chain to stimulate the demand. And having gone through the scoping study, we realized that there are following challenges which we need to address so that we can go with the ambition of the government and the ministry priorities. One is scale. The SMEs which are being involved, they are undercapitalized and they don't have an access to commercial funding. So with these grant facilities from EU, we'll be able to support these enterprises and small growing companies to ensure that they have a bigger outreach in terms of accessing the consumers. And the second aspect is tax, as we mentioned, but also there is a challenge of knowledge in terms of awareness of different products which are available. I think Mr. Sao, Engineer Sao will discuss this, but I didn't realize even myself that electricity pressure cooker in terms of cost for cooking is the cheapest compared to charcoal and LPG. But there are scientific issues which have gone into the process, but many people doesn't know the issue of cost for cooking. So it's something which have come up in the scoping study, and we are going to have criteria for application, and the companies and enterprises will have an opportunity to present their business proposal, which will go into different processes of approval. For now, let me end here. But again, I was very happy in the last statement from the Minister of Energy when he mentioned about his passion on the clean cooking solution. I think this is the right direction from policy and government priorities, because we can't go on addressing and attending COP26 and the other global platform when we are failing to address the issue of climate change. Dar es Salaam alone is consuming 50% of all charcoals in Tanzania. So I think by supporting a clean cooking solution in Dar es Salaam, we are going to address a number of acres of trees which can take 10 to 15 years to raise by just having 10 bags of charcoal. Thank you so much.
Before I let you off, you did the scoping and you got the findings, and stakeholder are waiting. What's the way forward? For how long will it take for them to get these funds?
The program was launched last December, and the scoping study is done. We had a discussion with the funder in the last 3-4 weeks. and we are ready. Only that we need to have, there is a program steering committee which involves permanent secretaries in a number of ministries which are involved in climate and cooking solution. I think in the next 10 days, we are going to have that meeting. And then from there, we can just hit the ground running by floating the call of proposal. And you will hear from us in the next 1 month, hopefully.
Maybe one more. I will get more from the floor, but I'm more interested in it. Maybe I should declare my interest. I'm one of the producers of clean cook stoves in Tanzania. There are funders who do fund several activities on clean cooking, but in some cases, I'm sorry if I use that word, the funds as a peanut, can't change them from one level to another level. May I know what the minimum and the maximum range of funding per?
I think I said, from the design of the program, we want to address the lower end of the value chain, specifically the demand side. And we are solely working with enterprises and companies. And it's not fair to say that we are going to give you this much. Your business will dictate. We are going to work with the company. We are going to submit their proposal. We have very clear criteria for screening and selection of the projects. And not only that, we'll sit down and discuss with applicants so that we see the level of engagement on your part, the level of risk-taking propensity on the side of the applicant, because we are not going to give somebody who is zero. We are going to give money to some, and this is a grant. This is grant, but we are going to have some criteria. Suppose you want some money, but you have nothing, or you have 5 million capitalization. Do you think we give you 300 million? We won't manage because you are not even used to that. So the level of activities, your plans, the coverage you want to achieve, the impact on women economic empowerment, given that the kind of product you are using, will determine the size of capital. And our intention and the intention of the European Union was provided this funding, and the intention of the ministry is to ensure we formalize the market, we formalize the clean cooking market, so that in the future, or with coming of other development partners, we can now have a strong market for clean cooking solution.
Thank you. Tabit from ENERGIA. It's my knowledge that I've been on women empowerment for quite long, and we've done several studies on the field. Can you just let the participants get your findings and how do you incorporate these women in this energy sector for cooking? You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I work with Tangisen, which are part of ENERGIA as a network. And we've been working with many institutions in Tanzania when it's come to gender in energy. And in particular, clean cooking is one of the areas that we are very interested in, one of the mandates that we take on ourselves. When it comes to gender in clean cooking, currently Tangisen is doing a lot. But specifically, we've been trying to support the formation of the Clean Cooking Association. In that regard, that we have to make sure that its formation ensure that gender issues are taken on board. One thing we know and agree, and we're happy that most of the clean cooking initiative in Tanzania will be spearheaded by the private sector. And we know private sector does not have mostly time capacity for exploring issues, for example, gender, because sometimes it's not in their business model or it doesn't pay to do that. So we stand there to support that issues, because without gender considerations, we might actually fail in rolling up clean cooking in Tanzania. Why? Because gender is very important, especially on the rural value chain. When you start in the design part, also in the dissemination part, if you're not taking on board issues which regards women or men will fail. And when we think Mr. Moro mentioned here that some of the company which applies for the funding will be judged in different criteria, right? We hope one of the criteria is how gender is going to be considered, in a sense that when you're designing, for example, a cook stove, that cook stove is going to be used by a person. If you design it blindly without thinking who is going to use the cook stove, one thing is probably the person going to adopt the cook stove will just buy it and put it inside. We see this is a problem. We go to a place that people are given cook stoves and they don't use them at all. And after a time we ask them, it's because most of the time the design fails to really answer the needs of people. And you know how to know the needs of people, you have to apply gender considerations when you are coming to design. But also when it comes to dissemination, one thing is that most of the clean cooking appliances requires a bit of capital expenditure in household level. Because we don't have that money. And then you find that you might try your best to market a cook stove to a woman, and at the end of the day they won't be able to buy because the one who actually have the money is a man. So actually I'm supporting the private sector and these cook stove companies to design marketing campaigns which actually target to entice the right person, the one who makes decisions. Because our goal is to actually to see cook stoves, clean cook stoves are actually purchased and used and actually have an impact at the household level. Yes, thank you.
One question a bit. We have been working with this empowerment women programs. How do you integrate the decentralized renewable energy strategies with your programs?
DRE offers among the best places to start or initiate different models to use, especially on disseminating clean cooking. I'll give you just a scenario. For example, a mini grid in an isolated place in Tanzania, they just started their operations. So gender and clean cooking can be integrated in there because that area or that mini grid area can be among the best places to test different uh, initiative of clean cooking. We found that it is actually workable because some of the decentralized renewable energy companies, when they start their operations, they found that without uh, productive uses of energy, it's very, very hard for them to recuperate their cost, because if they just rely on household uses of their energy, most of the time the household use are really minimal. It's usually lights and radio and phone charging. But when it comes to POE, they usually actually create returns to their company. So we usually see if there's a possibility of increase another way of actually, now let's say about clean cooking. You know, when they go to a village in a mini grid, they they create wiring of the houses, etc. But I don't know how many times they usually go to women kitchen and say we have to create a wiring which is possible to support clean cooking appliances. So Mr. Saul, for example, is there in the village and is probably promoting clean cooking. And then you found that women are the one actually using pressure cookers. But if you come to the kitchen, there's no switch for pressure cooker to be used. So how are we going to ensure that these DRE companies, when they start operations, they ensure that all these needs are integrated, including cooking needs of women in the households which they serve, and to ensure that when the clean cooking appliances are brought into the picture, people can actually adopt them because the households are already retrofitted to make sure that they are there. But also the other models can be applied in the DRE that include cooperatives. What if they can loan these clean cooking appliances around the village and see if it is possible to have a model where they can pay up slowly, and then actually at the same time we can actually collect data on usage, on household spending, and actually have enough evidence to roll up other new projects in other areas. So there are many opportunities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. May I call upon SNV John Mlay. You're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. As the moderator has introduced me, I'm John Mlay. I'm a senior advisor with SNV in the energy sector. I would share with you what we've been doing in the area of clean cooking. In the past, from 2008 to 2014, we were in the area of biogas, and during that time, we facilitated construction of over 10,000 biogas biodigesters around the country. And from there, we went into clean cooking stoves, whereby in parallel with the solar RBF, where we were also facilitating in the area of cook stove, which is relevant to our topic today, we are working with local producers of improved cook stoves. What we do is we go to a new place, we scope, we find the stove producers existing, doing the job. We train them into producing an improved cook stove we call Matawi stove. It's Matawi because it uses small pieces of wood and charcoal. It's a duo, meaning that it can be used it can be fueled by firewood and charcoal. And that stove, currently we are working with active producers, over 120 active producers spreading in over 39 districts in 18 regions of Tanzania. And in a month, they are pumping into the market an average of 10,000 improved cook stoves. With that, we are currently extending the support whereby we track their sales, and from their sales they make points, and they are able to convert the points into money, and they use that money to buy equipment and tools to enhance their business. We do equip them with business development services. At the same time, we do help them with some marketing materials and give them the skills necessary to grow their businesses. Currently, we are running 3 pilots, whereby we are taking it further into what we call behavioral change communication. And that we have done in 3 districts, whereby we have a station whereby the community goes and they learn how to properly use the stoves so that they can maximize the benefits available from the improved cook stoves. In there, they work on the limiting behaviors which can limit their benefits from improved cook stoves. Things like, very basic things like how do you light fire? Because when you talk about getting the benefit from an improved stove, it means you are aware of how to properly prepare your fuel, how to prepare your food. They learn about an ideal kitchen, meaning that if you are to use a kitchen that is not ideal, is not properly ventilated, chances are you will suffer from the indoor air pollution. So they learn about how to make an ideal kitchen, and all these are done in pilot, and the communities get to the centers to learn this. We have done it in Vomero, we have done it in Njombe, and currently we are starting one in the Lake Zone in Misungwi, whereby the communities would go to this center, and using these improved cook stoves, they will learn how to get the most out of the improved cook stoves. On top of that one, we are also engaging with colleagues in the clean cooking stakeholders to work on the enabling environment. We are working, we're partnering with TAREA trying to improve and engage with the government to help the stakeholders to combat the hurdles in cooking. That one is very much on advance, and I think for the time being, I stop here.
Sure, thank you. Okay, because we are running short of time, and maybe the question session. Mr. Sala, I think he has a lot, but we will request him to make it very brief, because he has got a lot. 1 hour cannot be enough for him. Please just make it brief. You're welcome.
Thank you, moderator. I would like to thank also the organizers for inviting us to participate in this panel session, which is very important for us. We've been in the sector of the stores for many years. I started this when I was working with the government quite a number of years. We had the only, I think, till now, the national program for clean cooking in Tanzania, which I was the coordinator. But then we were able to move on to the private sector, where we have been working now at different levels. Our efforts have focused mostly on developing the market systems for clean cooking. That is really ensuring to strengthen the market chain, support services, and fostering the enabling environment. And that has made us work at different levels. Particularly, we have been working very closely with the government over the years. We have participated in a number of steering committees. When the government was preparing the biomass energy strategy, we were part of the steering committee. When the government was preparing the scaling up renewable energy program, our colleagues were also part of the task force. And when the government also was implementing the biogas program, as mentioned, we were part of the biogas program, the national steering biogas program. But also recently now we are finalizing a national charcoal strategy, which is a task force formed by the government. And likely enough, I'm part of that. So sooner there will be a national charcoal strategy, which also include an action plan to see issues of substitutions or alternative to charcoal. They will be there.
Sorry a bit, we are running short of time. I would like you, most of the participants are more interested to hear the e-cooking. Okay. If we could direct our mind on that, I think it will save a lot of our time.
Yes.
We need to learn the lesson learned from this. You have been doing this, and we have been deep on this. Okay. I think if we dive direct on this, it will be good for the participants.
Thanks, moderator. I was coming to that one, and that is another level of technologies we have been working on. We've been working on different technologies, charcoal stoves, firewood stoves, and for the last 4 years, we have been working on electric cooking appliances. And we have been working with the MEX program, which is an UK aid program that is promoting clean cooking services. And we have learned a lot from these programs which we have been implementing. The lessons are: 1, cooking with electricity, electric pressure cooker or appliances is really affordable here in Tanzania. There is that perception that cooking with electricity is expensive. It is no longer true. The technology has changed that perception completely. That cooking with electric pressure cooker, if you are on the lifeline tariff, that is about $0.04 per unit, it is 5 times cheaper to cook with EPC than LPG, but it is also 10 times cheaper to cook with the EPC than cooking with charcoal. But if you are on the normal tariff, that is the normal tariff of 350 Tanzania shillings, then it is 40 times cheaper to cook with EPC, and 40 times cheaper to cook with EPC than cooking with LPG, but also 3 times cheaper to cook with charcoal to cook with the EPC than charcoal. And that we have learned. But also we have learned that people, once they have gone electric pressure cooking or electric appliances, they hardly want to go back to LPG or charcoal. What we have noted, the cooking diaries we studied, it showed us that initially people in urban areas, they were using fuel stacking, that is using charcoal for heavy foods, but also using LPG for light foods. But then what happened once they have electric pressure cooker, they change completely. They change from stacking with charcoal, they now stack with LPG. But they use LPG only hardly when there is a problem with electricity. Most of the time they use electric pressure cooker because it is the cheapest, safest, and most convenient way of cooking. We have found out also that there is a huge potential now for cooking with electricity here in Tanzania. The best thing is really cooking with high efficient electric appliances is that we are now able to use the already existing infrastructure of electricity. You don't need to develop a new infrastructure. So you move fast. We know that we are almost 40% electrified. This is really a connectivity access. So we can quickly move from being less than 10% access to clean cooking, then help the people in urban areas. Mr. Muro said that Dar es Salaam is using about 50% of all the charcoal consumed in the country. So we can help the people here in urban areas to quickly move the energy ladder, move from charcoal to using electricity for cooking. So we have learned that is possible, but then we need also to help these people to be able to afford, to ensure that the EPCs are available, to ensure that all the market segments is in the e-cooking, because we have noted that the middle income and the upper income they can easily afford, but the low income they need sort of credit facility to afford. And the good thing now is that if we are talking generating electricity, which is an issue of decentralized renewable energy efforts, you'll be cooking with electricity from renewable. That is the true clean cooking. You eliminate emission completely. The rest, the charcoal stoves, which is efficient, the LPG, you're really minimizing all emissions. But this one, you completely move on to true clean cooking, which is very good for the environment, for the people. So
thank you very much, Mr. Sawi. You'll be in another round at the end to give a rate of participant to take home. Now, I think, Afrihands. Sorry, okay.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. By the way, I'm not Afrihands. I'm Japhary Mashaka from Afrihands.
From Afrihands, sure.
Yeah, Afrihands is a private company. It's registered as a specialist in renewable energy contractor. We are also a member of DRE. Afrihands is, we are dealing with, in part of renewable energy, we are dealing with biogas and mini hydropower. But biogas, we have focused much on biogas. As we know, in mini hydro, we still having some problems in initiating some strategies. But in biogas, we have already done several plants. We are doing small sizes, medium sizes, and we are now going to large sizes. In small sizes, we are much focused on domestic users. By the way, Afrihands also is a civil and building contractors. In the department of building, we try to merge between biogas and building construction. Biogas, we try to now plan and design the small size that can be used instead of using those domestic sanitary drainage system. Now we can use biodigesters. So I think this is our market strategy. So we can have client from building construction, and at the same time, so we can have a biogas digesters to those who are we are building houses to them. By the way, Afrihands now we have only we have not southern biodigester like our colleague there. We have only 102 biodigesters. That is 75 is domestic biodigesters, and the other one is medium sizes. We have built to schools and hospitals. Now, currently we don't have another project, and we manufacture cooking stove, biogas cooking stove. We don't have a showroom for biogas cooking stove because always our clients, we manufacture biogas cooking stove depending to our clients and depending to the sizes of our biodigesters. I think for this.
Thank you very much. Maybe I should welcome the participant to ask the panelists. Yeah, you're welcome.
The panelists for a good presentation. Thanks, very interesting. I have two questions. One specifically for Mulo and the rest for everybody. For Mulo, you are designing Muro. I'm Nyakusa, I don't have ARA. Nyakusa, everything yellow. So for you, Mr. Muro, when it comes to RBF, what kind of RBF we are doing? Is it they produce, then you pay for the results? Because we tried this when we are supporting renewable energy, RBF 1, RBF 2. It's also difficult for private sector to do the service, then pay for the results. Normally we have to do some advance, 30%, they do something, we see the mobilization we do, then the final tranche goes after the verification. So I want to see from your design of RBF. The second question is to all panelists when it comes to affordability. Yes, we're very good in solving supply side, but demand side is really difficult. How can we, the affordability issue when it comes to this technology? I know the cooking, e-cooking is cheap, yes, when it comes to electricity, but the affordability of these people, are they able to afford to pay for the solutions? This is, if at all it is, with example, please. How can we support these poor people to afford this service?
Thank you. Hello? Yeah, you raised your hands. Yes.
Thank you, panelists. Very informative. My name is Matsubara. I'm working for a corporation called Marubeni Corporation in Japan. I'm stationed in Johannesburg, but Japanese. So I have two questions. One is Mr. Manu. So you mentioned energy ladder, and you stress to the electrify the cook stove, and for energy ladder goes from as far as I understand, fire with charcoal, and then coal, kerosene, then biogas, natural gas, LPG, electrify. So you sounded like you guys, the discussion is focusing on just leaping from bottom of the ladder into the top and skipping in the middle. Is this what you are trying to? Is this what you are thinking about? it is really achievable. I don't have any worship for this theory, energy ladder theory, but I was wondering if you think it is a better idea to step once in the middle before you get into the electricity. And another question is for the all panelists. The discussion was very informative for me, but simultaneously, I felt a little odd because you guys haven't really discussed the carbon credit. And, the energy efficiency really doesn't matter if you monetize, if you have ability, if you can monetize the carbon credit that generate from improved cook stove, or then it's a really problem solved. Last year, voluntary credit market volume-wise is around 300 million CO2 tons, and only probably 4 million that comes from improved cook stove. So we are financer, and we'll be happy to make a pre-finance so long as the carbon, the project, cooking cook stove project is consummated under the agreement Article 6. So I assume you are exposing to the governmental officials, and my question is, how difficult it may be for you to consummate the carbon credit project under Article 6 with the corresponding adjustment. If we can expose to this type of business opportunity, we'll be happy to discuss how we can collaborate.
Thank you. Maybe give the room. Maybe the last question, then the panelists will respond. If there's no question, then maybe Mr. theoretically responding can do, but somewhere specific for Muro, somewhere specific for Sawe.
Thank you, moderator. I'll talk on the issue of affordability. Right now, there are major problems with two things. Availability of the appliances themselves. They are very not there, but then affordability is another issue. If you take an example of the high efficient electric pressure cooker, that one, definitely the upfront cost is high. But if you study the price structure of the EPC, more than 40% of the price is really taxes. And we have prepared the proper documentation after linking up with the Ministry of Energy and the Ministry of Finance. We have had several meetings with the Ministry of Finance, the tax commissioner, after presenting the issue, and that one is in the process, at least like it is with LPG. The taxes are waived. So we hope that the EPC will be, taxes will be waived. That is one way really to reduce the cost.
Sorry, Mr. Sawe, I'm interrupting you. Can you just respond directly? The initial investment, the running cost you explained to the participant, the running cost is very low, but now the initial investment, I think that was the question about it. Initial investment on the e-cooking.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think that is the question you asked about the affordability.
Yeah. How much one should pay to get the package?
Okay, the price of the EPC is around to $70, the EPC, and that is definitely is not affordable to the lower income market segment. But the other issue also what we have seen is we have had different financing mechanisms. For example, in some areas where we are working, we have a women milk group that has a lot of members. So what they are doing, they are buying the EPC, and then they sell the EPC at a flexible payment arrangement, where the members are getting the EPC, they pay an initial cost, and then they pay slowly to that one. So if there can be different financing mechanism, I think the lower income can also afford it to. But the other thing also is really to improve affordability, the issue of working on to manufacture the products here in Tanzania. If we are able to assemble or manufacture these products here in Tanzania, definitely there will be a lot of benefits, including cost reduction, but a lot of job creation. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I just, because we are talking of decentralized renewable electrification strategy, what in the decentralized area, how can the package go? 60,000 is buying the equipment, but now the backup for cooking, how much will have one to pay for getting the, let's say is off grid. So the decentralized electricity.
Thank you, moderator. We have worked definitely with the decentralized renewable energy, the mini grids. With the MAX program that we have been working with, we've done a study for more than 6 mini grids, and with more than 150 households using high efficient electric pressure cooker. The thing is, I was also lucky to go to 2 of these mini grids to experience. We conducted the studies at the village, and what after the studies, and you put up a proper financing arrangement. In that village, the first day they bought 12 electric pressure cookers, and now coming back to the question of changing from 3-stone fireplace to high efficient electric pressure cooker. I think here is an issue of leapfrogging. Leapfrogging from 3-stone to high efficient electric pressure cooker. In fact, which is the most efficient, the cleanest way of cooking available. And that is not changing, because here in Tanzania, people leaped from having no telephone, and some leaped to smartphone. And here, electric pressure cooker, high efficient electric pressure cooker is really smart cooking.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mwambije, you have something on the financing mechanism.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me first try to respond to this question from my dear brother from South Africa. Fortunately, I was involved in clean development mechanism in the last 15 years. And it's true that if you want to monetize the price of the cooking technology, if you put in the question of carbon credit, I think the price and the affordability issue could be addressed. However, in the context of Tanzania, it's very difficult to have the volume, the compliance issues towards certification of carbon emission is very cumbersome. To bring in auditors, certified auditors, to confirm that there was emission reduction to buy is very expensive. So unless you have the number of units located in a small area, but if you are talking of verification of cooking practices in this country, Tanzania is bigger than Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi combined, and you remain with some few kilometers. So it's very difficult in terms of area and if the coverage is fairly big. So I fully agree, but again, you may agree with me that the market for carbon credit in the last few years wasn't very good, and hopefully I don't have update information that maybe now, but if we have to go into the compliance towards receiving carbon credits, which is received after provision of services, it requires substantial upfront capital to do first and then to wait for carbon credit. And the market is not formalized enough for the commercial lenders to provide capital so that they can go into scale, which is the critical aspect of the carbon credit financing. This is what I know. Maybe some other guys may have different, but I go directly to the question from my colleague Mokifamba from Swedish on the result-based financing, RBF, the challenges related to the result-based financing where somebody will be provided subsidy or grant after provision of the services. I fully agree with you, and this is, yes, there are advantages and disadvantages associated with the result-based finance. The model was tested on mainly on the provision of healthy water. If you read the literature globally, it's not really to the energy sector, but it's also a method, a financing mechanism which
maybe
Because you did and then you closed
yeah.
it.
On the
50
experience
seconds.
of RBF in energy, don't forget the experience of the solar. RBF solar, we've been running RBF solar from 20 year, and we have some on the issue of jumping from the very low end of 3-star to very modern PC. I think it's a big question on behavioral change. We would have to a very big exercise of creating awareness and dealing with what I called the limiting behaviors, because cooking with electricity isn't that new. I remember when I started working in 1985, I bought two plates Tanelec electric cooker. And that was the fashion those days all the bachelors and spinsters would use electricity to cook. But something did happen in between, and people stopped using electricity. So I think it's an area that we used to be there. Mr. Sawe, I think we need to bring back the experience we had in those days of using electricity to cook.
Thank you. You can start.
I think I'd like to respond to the question and the concerns that pertain to accessibility of clean cooking because of price. As BAN, we have the charcoal wood stove, also to address the issue of carbon. So BAN has been successful in using carbon points to be able to cushion the price of our stoves. And one of the biggest wins is actually on the wooden stove that we have. And therefore, we actually do have an opportunity to bring that stove to as low as $1. The only issue we have is obviously DRE. So I want to bring it out that actually carbon credit works. It is as rigorous as Ngoo says. We have gone through that process in Kenya, and it is really a very difficult one, but it does yield results, and those results are what we want to Tanzanian public with.
Thank you. Japhary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also,
closing remarks or whatever you have to close to wind up.
Okay, there is a question which is not answered from that man. If we are able to cooperate with the carbon credit, we are ready.
Very brief, very short.
We are ready to cooperate. Only that. There was a question from that. Are we ready to cooperate as the manufacturer and of cooking stove and biodigesters to the carbon credit? I'm just answering him that if we are ready to cooperate, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My closing remark is that also is actually answering Mr. The guy from the Swedish Embassy on the affordability part. I think one issue is that the market is supposed to be done, it's supposed to be approached differently. So as Mr. Sawe mentioned that people in Dar es Salaam, they use LPG and charcoal, it means they can afford electric cooking. But I think we still lack effective marketing. What kind of messages are we sending? Anytime you see clean cooking or alternative cooking mentioned in media very few times. And I think that is actually crucial, because if we are going to let private sector lead clean cooking in Tanzania, marketing should be a forefront issue to make sure that people are well informed and actually moved to change their ways of cooking. And a lot of people can actually afford. I think one thing we usually forget, we usually look on the poorest. But when it's come to charcoal consumption, the middle income, the high income households usually use more charcoal than the poorer ones. But if we can target them, it means we can actually move a lot of people to clean cooking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Very brief.
My closing remarks here. One, I think we need to take advantage of the current will. We heard the Honorable Minister is saying one of his priorities is clean cooking. I've been in this sector for many years. There has never been a minister there. That's a very strong statement. So the important thing here is we stakeholders, including the funders and all this, is really to look at it into focusing only on project by project is not very much helpful. We need to help the government to look along the whole system, to look on the market chain, to look on the support services, to look on the environment, to have the policy, appropriate policy, but also clear strategies and the national programs, because that one will ensure that really the whole clean cooking is grounded on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One thing which I didn't say, the program will procure a emission analyzer, and we are going to work with Tanzania Bureau of Standard and TAREA to make sure that we have that facility because it has been so expensive for the developers to test for emission. And with that facility, I'm pretty sure the issue of carbon credit will be partly addressed. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we're done, and I should thank you, participants. Convey the message that Tanzania government is different from what it used to be. Environment, I should declare, we are not conducive. But of now, the environment are very conducive, and we have got a bigger area, bigger footprint. You see here, you are doing nothing wrong. The market is, we are about 60 million, and you are calculating about maybe 12,000 or to 15,000 households, 15 million households. And the environment is conducive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear moderator and panelists. Thank you everyone for joining. This closes the sessions in the Kilimaki room. One last announcement though is that closing remarks now in the Kibu room, so I'd advise everyone to go there. And it also includes a photo with all the participants. So if you want to be in the photo, come with me to the Kibu room now, and we'll take a big photo after the closing. Thank you everyone, and see you soon.